Hi, my name is Islamiyah Adabisi, and I'm a tutor in the Natural and Social Science Lab at Miami-Dade College, Kendall campus. Today we'll be going over atoms and elements. In this video, we will review what is an atom and its parts, what is an element, and what is the atomic number and mass number of a given element. To begin with, let's go over atoms. An atom is the smallest particle characteristic of an element. Atoms are made up of three types of subatomic particles, which are protons that have a positive charge, neutrons which are neutral or have no charge, and electrons that have a negative charge. Now, let's start with looking at the image of an atom. As you can see from the atom, the centered part of the atom is called the nucleus. The nucleus is made up of protons and neutrons. The nucleus is also surrounded by electrons which are negatively charged and orbit around the nucleus. Please note, most of the mass of the atom is contained in the nucleus because the mass of the protons and neutrons are about the same, and electrons, on the other hand, are smaller in comparison. We'll now go over how atoms form elements. An element is any material that is composed of only one type of atom, meaning many atoms can create an element. You also need to remember here that elements cannot be broken down into any simpler substance chemically. Such is the case in which an element can be identified by the number of protons, neutrons, and electrons it contains. Elements are also represented by a letter symbol on the periodic table. As you can see, this X letter, or usually a letter, will represent the element symbol. The Z represents the atomic number, which is usually signified as a number form on the periodic table, and the A represents the mass number, which is also signified by a number on the periodic table. Now, let's go over what an atomic number is first. The atomic number is actually the number of protons in the nucleus of an atom. In other words, each element has a unique number that identifies how many protons are in one atom of that element. For example, let's go over hydrogen. Hydrogen is represented using the letter H. It has a number above it, which is 1. This number is actually the atomic number, meaning that all hydrogen atoms have one proton, and all of the hydrogen atoms will have this one proton. Now let's go a little further and go back into mass number. The mass number, also referred to as atomic mass of the atom, is the total number of protons and neutrons in the atom's nucleus. So always remember, mass number equals the number of protons plus the number of neutrons. And we can go into an example of this as well on the periodic table. Let's look over nitrogen. Nitrogen is signified using the letter N. The number above it is the atomic number, which is 7. Now, remember, we're more interested in the mass number in this case, and as you can see under the name of nitrogen is the number 14, and which is the mass number. Now, the mass number can also help you find the number of neutrons. You can use a simple equation in order to find the number of neutrons. This equation is N equals A minus Z. In this case, A, remember, it signifies mass number, minus Z, which is the atomic number. So in this case of nitrogen, it would be 14, which is the mass number of nitrogen, minus 7, which is the atomic number of nitrogen. So 14 minus 7 equals 7, and that's the number of neutrons from nitrogen. To conclude, an atom is the smallest particle characteristic of an element. Remember, an element is made up of one kind of atom and cannot be broken down into any simpler substance chemically. The identity of an element is defined by its atomic number. The atomic number is the number of protons of an element, more specifically of an atom of the element. The mass number is the number of protons plus the number of neutrons. And you can also use the mass number and the atomic number in order to find the number of neutrons. You can find the number of neutrons using N equals A minus Z, which is mass number minus atomic number will give you the number of neutrons. I hope this helps, and thanks for watching.